Thank you so much for your time. My name's Tia, and I'm speaking to you on behalf of the Brothers Geek Out Podcast.
Okay.
First and foremost, the film is amazing. I watched it last week and yesterday as well.
Wow.
So I'm waiting for it to come out again to rewatch it.
Nice.
Yeah, take some friends as well.
That's awesome.
So yeah, you said you approached Roofman like an investigator, chasing the ultimate emotional truth. What did you learn about truth while making this film?
I think there's many different truths. I think based on what your perspective is.
Yeah.
I think I chose to tell this story from the point of view of Jeffrey Manchester, the criminal.
Mhm.
And he had his own truth that I questioned many times. Were the crazy things he was telling me that he did, were they actually accurate? And I would talk to the police and read the police reports and realize, yes, they were accurate. Were were his choices, which I saw, which he told me they came from the place of his heart and humanity? Were they, um, if I would speak to the police, they would have a different feeling about what his choices were. And I think what I chose to do is tell the story from his point of view so that you could feel kind of the heart of this robber, and feel the humanity of this robber. Whereas if I would have told the story like a TV show or something from a cat and mouse police, I think it would have been different. It would
Yeah.
have been about getting the criminal, the person off the street. But I guess I was really compelled by the conversations I had with his girlfriend and the pastor of the church, who saw him as like such an adventure and saw that time as an adventure. So that was their truth. Their truth was that this person came into their lives for 2 to 3 months, and they had the greatest experience of their life. And the flip side to that experience was also a lot of pain and tragedy. But it didn't diminish the moments. And so, yeah, that was their truth. But yeah, I think every person kind of carries their own, I guess, emotional truth. And then if you make a movie about it, it becomes like a cinematic truth.
Of course, yeah. I really felt the impact he made on everyone's life. And watching the film, it also made an impact on me because I had no idea about his story. So I was expecting, this is just a story about a bad guy getting caught. But there was so much more to it in that
Yeah.
sense.
Well, the thing that makes him an interesting character to me is that contradictions. That he's a criminal that locks people in freezers, but gives them jackets.
Yeah.
He's an army vet who escapes prison and doesn't live in the woods. He lives in a toy store.
Yeah.
So I think those are the things that make him compelling. And ultimately, when he was at an airport with the plane ticket ready to go to his freedom, he turns around to say goodbye to his girlfriend because he can't just ditch her. And I think that's ultimately the story of a guy whose heart and his humanity is the thing that makes him, in fact, a bad criminal.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was worthy of.
Oh, yeah. I was at that scene. I was like, just go, get on the plane. But I really appreciate that he didn't ghost her. So
Us. Exactly. Exactly.
working with Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Obviously, what made you feel he was right for Jeffrey? How did the kind of collaboration evolve? Did he have an input into the role?
Of course. So I've always loved Channing. First time I ever saw him was in this movie, Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. I remember seeing him appear on the screen. He had his shirt off. He had like this dancer's body, but he had a boxer's face. It was like Gene Kelly on the torso and Marlon Brando on the head. And he was kind of this vision of wounded, bruised masculinity, beautiful. And over the years, he was like amazing in action movies. He was hilarious in comedies. He was so romantic in love stories. He was also making like biopics of his own life. So I knew he was like brave and courageous. And when I wrote Jeff, I spent like 3 years writing Jeff without an actor in mind. And then I had to figure out who the actor would be. And I met with him in Prospect Park, and we walked and we talked. And eventually I I didn't pitch him the movie at all, but I just got to know who Channing was as a person. And I figured out that his daughter was the most important thing in his life. And I thought that that was compelling because that's who Jeff is too. Jeff cares mostly about his kids. And he also knew what it was like to be away from his kids, like it was with like custody separations and whatnot. And that was aligned with Jeff. And then he was also, I knew he could hold the screen because so much of this movie is Jeff Manchester alone in a toy store. And I knew that Channing, like I wanted to see Channing because in that toy store, and Channing has like this real child's heart like Jeff does. Jeff Manchester is Peter Pan, and Channing, that quality in him is very, very much present. So, yeah.
Oh, nice. About the Toys R Us store, was that just like a logistical nightmare, or was like a?
It was crazy.
I was gonna say it was like a dream come true, like child. Yeah.
Yes, it was a dream come true, and it was like a nightmare to try to build because there's no more freestanding big box store Toys R Us in America. We found an old abandoned one. I mean, the one where the events actually took place in the film, it was it had turned into a church.
Oh, okay.
So we couldn't shoot there, so we had to find another one. And when we went in there the first time, it was just like 45,000 square feet of nothing. And we had to just build it one tile at a time, one light at a time, one shelving unit at a time, and one toy at a time. And you don't understand until you try to fill up a toy store how many toys are actually in a toy store. We would have truckloads and truckloads of toys. And this movie is also period. So it's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So we had to have toys that were made 20 years ago. So
Tickle Me Elmo.
Lots of Tickle Me Elmos. We bought every Tickle Me Elmo off of eBay that we could find.
Okay.
And that story where he beats up the Tickle Me Elmos is, that I didn't write that. That was what Jeff did. I think because when you're locked in a toy store, it's a lot of fun for like the first month or so.
Yeah.
But then the Tickle Me Elmos start laughing at you.
Yeah.
And you might have to take a wiffle ball bat to that.
Yeah. All been there. Yes. You spoke before about the real people in Jeffrey's life. How important was it to source them out, speak to them, and really gather the information about Jeffrey to incorporate within this film?
I had to talk to the real people because, for one, I had to validate the truth of the actions, the facts, and then I also had to validate what I was feeling with Jeff because I liked Jeff.
Yeah.
I found him to be optimistic. I found him to be generous and warm. And I was thinking to myself, is this guy just manipulating me? Is he pulling the wool over my eyes? And so I talked to some of the people in his life, specifically Lee and Ron, and they spoke about him. Yeah. They kind of mirrored my feelings about him. And so I decided to kind of follow that truth of what I felt and what they felt for him.
So I even felt that with the police officer, she didn't really have anything bad to say about him. It was more just her job was to just find him.
Yes.
And he was really easy to be taken, didn't cause her any problems.
Yes.
So yeah,
I think what's not in the film, but what Jeff said when he was arrested was he said, "Good job, guys."
Oh wow. Okay.
He congratulated them.
Nice. That's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, so Jeffrey's obviously both charming and deceptive. Obviously, you also had your experience with him. You didn't know what to believe or not without getting the facts. How did you show his humanity without excusing what he did? And what do you want people to take and feel about his redemption?
Well, I don't know if his humanity is his humanity. Like in real life, I feel like nowadays we're in such a divided place, and I feel like everyone is defined by one thing or just like exactly who they are. And movies make it very easy to know who the hero is and who the villain is. But in my life, I've never really met a hero and I've never really met a villain. I've met people that have done heroic things and I've met people who have done villainous things, and sometimes they're the same person. And I think people aren't perfect. People are flawed. And I think it's flaws that make us interesting. And I asked Pastor Ron at one time, I said, talk to me about the Bible. And he says, well, the Old Testament's about judgment and the New Testament's about grace, and that in his life he tends to err on the side of grace. And I thought about Jeff's story, and I thought about his person, and I thought he got judged pretty harshly by society. He got sentenced to 45 years, and that judge is in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought that maybe the movie could see him with a little bit more of that grace and to understand who this person is. And he's paying the price for his actions. But like I said, if he was a less human, if he was a more cold-hearted human being, we would never know his story. He would be on a beach somewhere. Definitely. It was actually his humanity that got him caught.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. He always put other people's happiness before his, even if they weren't in his life for too long.
Yeah.
And that was the humanity for me. It was a bit people-pleasing, but for him, it was really important that, I want to make this person happy, and that comes before mine.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and in his real life, I tried not to stay away from the real tragedy of his life.
Yeah.
I mean, he spent 9 years in solitary confinement after the events of this movie. He has been away from his, he hasn't seen his kids for a long time. The thing that makes me kind of happiest, I've recently spoken to his kids. They didn't want to talk before the movie, but they've seen the movie and they've gotten in contact with me afterwards. And I've had some very good conversations with them. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And they are now in contact with their father, which is a good thing.
Yeah. I'll just finish off with my last question. How has Roofman changed you as a filmmaker compared to the other films you have made?
It's a long journey. I think with this movie, I tried to maybe not take myself so deadly seriously the whole time. I tried to. It's kind of why I was intrigued by this story of a man in a toy store. I think if Jeff would have chose to live in the woods, I probably wouldn't have made the movie.
Yeah.
But the fact that he chose to live in a toy store that's surrounded by kind of this wish fulfillment. But the thing that I found interesting about it, though, is like he's got this wish fulfillment, but if you dream only of eating candy all day, you're probably going to get some cavities. It's not going to be good for you to be surrounded by all your wishes all the time. You can't always have everything you want. I don't know. It was fun and challenging to make a movie where, like the darkness or the seriousness of some of my other movies becomes kind of like a cocoon of safety for me. So I kind of put myself out of my comfort zone but I've always thought that, like, if you slip on a banana peel, people laugh, but it hurts.
Yeah.
It's pain. So I try to find the essence of that, where comedy and tragedy kind of intersect.
Balanced really well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
it's been lovely to meet you.
Awesome.
It's actually been an honor for me because the place Beyond the Pines is like one of my all-time favorite.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and make sure you follow us on all our socials. You got X, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel for more of the long-form content and the breaking news. Also, guys, if you guys are on the commute, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify. And here's some more videos for you guys to watch.